These are all done. Oh my gosh, so gorgeous. Here are our gorgeous fried dumpling babies. Oh my god, they are beautiful. 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and of course the ingredients are always listed below. So 2 cups of all-purpose flour, about 3 teaspoons of baking powder, about 1.5 teaspoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon salt. We have some water here, 1/3 cup of milk, and I'm using oat milk because regular milk tears my stomach up. So use whatever you like. And this is about 1 tablespoon of unsalted butter. So I'm first going to go in with all of my dry ingredients. Now, if the baking powder side of things intimidates you, or if you feel like every time you use baking powder and you're still not getting these, your dumplings are coming out too hard, then you can go ahead and use self-rising flour. I have heard of people using self-rising flour and had success with it. I personally have never tried it, but you can definitely try that method for sure. And if you don't like the sugar in here, then just don't add it, period. Okay? So we added the dry ingredients, and now I'm gonna go in with the butter. I'm gonna use my fingers to crush the butter into the flour or incorporate it with the flour. Now before you say real Jamaicans don't need dumpling or flour with gloves on, you're right, they don't. But me personally, born in Jamaica, from Meadowbrook, I do not like to feel certain things on my hands, which is why I use gloves a lot in the kitchen. Alright? Don't judge me. Just do what you want to do. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead. I'm using my fingers, as you can see, to just crush the butter. And I'm just going to make sure that this is incorporated with the flour. And while doing that, you want to mix up the baking powder, the salt, the sugar, and everything that we just added in here. So the butter is going to add some flavor to the dumplings. Alright, so we're just going to keep doing this until the butter is evenly combined with the flour. And then we're going to add the remainder of the wet ingredients. Alright, see what I'm doing with my fingers? Just incorporating the butter with the flour while making sure that I mixed everything properly. And you guys, the tiny amount of sugar that I added in here, trust me, you're not going to taste it. Before you say, oh, you only add sugar to festivals, well, trust me, festivals are way more sweeter than fried dumplings, and the sugar just adds just a little hint of, I wouldn't even say sweet, because it's not gonna be sweet. Just add a little flavor to here. But like as I said before, like I said, if you do not want to add that or anything you don't want to add, go ahead and just leave it out or use your favorite substitute. Alright, so butter has been incorporated with the flour. I ensured that I mixed up everything in here, and now we're going to go in with the wet ingredients. So I somewhat created like a well in the middle. The first thing I'm going to go in with is the milk. This is 1/3 cups of oat milk. I'm going to start mixing that up. Milk is going to add a little flavor in here also and help to keep them nice, soft, and moist. Next, I'm going to go in with the water. But I'm going to warn you, especially if this is your first time doing this, slowly add water in here. Don't just go in with the entire thing of water. You want this dough to be nice and wet, but not too wet, not too dry. If it's too dry, not too wet, not too dry. Alright, so as I add the water in here, I'm somewhat kneading the flour. Tiny amounts of water. And then knead. I have about 1/3 of a cup of water right now, but if you feel like you need more, go ahead and add it. But as I mentioned, slowly add your water to your flour. Small amounts. And if you add too much water to your flour, you're gonna have to add more flour in there. But be careful, because the baking powder is what's gonna help to make the dumplings nice and soft. You want nice crispy dumplings on the outside and pillowy soft on the inside. So if you add more flour, keep in mind you're gonna have to add possibly a little bit more baking powder if you don't want your dumplings to be too hard. And the next thing is, you don't want to over knead this, because it can result in the dumplings coming out too hard. Alright, so I'm going in with small amounts, and I'm just going to keep doing this until it turns into a nice firm dough. Just folding while I'm going, not doing too much kneading. Tiny amounts of water. You see, we're already getting a nice dough already. Now that everything is into a dough, now I'm going to start kneading, because we want this to be nice and firm. Now that this is a dough, I'm going to touch it. It's not so sticky anymore, so I am totally fine with touching it, because it's not going to get all over my hands. Alright, literally, that is it for the dough. See? We have a nice dough. Touch it with my hand. It's not too sticky. It's firm. It's not too dry. See that? Nice and firm. Not too wet. Not too dry. So now, we're just going to leave this in here. Cover it with a damp paper towel for about a few minutes, about 5 minutes or so, and then we're going to start frying these. Definitely want to allow your dough to rest for a little before frying it. And the reason for covering it with a damp towel or a paper towel is just so that once it's here resting, the outside crust, which is outside here, don't get hard and stuff. Once you leave it with this, it'll keep it nice and moist. Alright, so we're going to leave this to rest for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to separate the dough and start frying. Alright, so I started separating my dough. Do these in the desired shape that you like. And you knead it like so. Just to get it nice and smooth. Roll it. And I'm going to leave these in balls. Totally up to you. Some people like to press it down in the middle like that to get nice dumplings. You can roll it, do whatever shape you want to do. Totally up to you. Any size you prefer, definitely your choice. Right, so it looks like that. I already have a few in here that I started doing. So I'm just going to do the remainder of this. This is maybe like about 2, and then we're going to start frying them. So I got 2, 4, 6, 8, wait, 2, 4, 6, 8, and a little tiny ones out of my 2 cups of flour that we did. So we have about 9 dumplings here. So time to start frying these. Alright, so I have my pot already preheated. You guys, you can deep fry these, shallow fry these. I wouldn't really suggest shallow frying them. It just makes it a little harder. Deep frying is best. I have literally about this much oil in here. And now I'm going to start dropping these in. You do not want to overcrowd your pot. Because then it's going to drop the temperature, and you don't want your fried dumplings to suck up the oil like little sponges and just be nasty. So I'm going to only go in with about 4 at a time, and my heat is on a medium low. You do not want to make your oil too hot, because then your dumplings are going to burn really quickly and they're not going to cook on the inside. So the idea here is that we're going to allow these to cook until they turn nice and golden brown. And I feel like my pot can take just one more. No more than that. So we're just gonna let these cook over a low, not even medium low, a low heat. Low, a little bit up to medium, but mainly low. And I'm just gonna let these cook until they turn nice and golden brown. Flip them over, and then they're gonna be done. If you also prefer a written recipe for these, I do have them on my website, londoncooks.com, which I will list a link to the recipe below. There's also a written recipe for this on my blog. Alright, so we're just going to let these cook until they turn nice and golden brown on one side, flip them on the other side, and then they should be done. So let's check these. They look like they're starting to turn golden. See? So we're just going to flip that over and allow them to become nice and golden on the other side. These are gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Pay close attention. You can see that they started expanding, and that's because of the baking powder. You see that on the side of this one? Don't bother these while they're cooking, you guys. I'm just trying to show you something, but you see that? That's the baking powder right there. So I'm just going to make sure that this becomes golden on each side, and then we'll pull them. And again, you do not want to do this over a high heat. They will burn. They will cook too quickly on the outside, and you're going to result with uncooked dumplings on the inside. So I have my heat at a low, medium-ish, little bit up by medium, but mainly low, so that they can take their time and cook on the inside. You do not want raw dumplings on the inside. Do not rush this process. Alright? Take your time and give them some love, and I guarantee you will have delicious dumplings. Now if I had deep fried these, I would not have to be turning them over on each side. It definitely would have been cooked. So we're just going to make sure that each side is nice and golden. Alright, our first batch is done. So I'm just going to remove these. I'm going to add them to a bowl with some paper towel just to drain the excess oil, and then we're going to do the last batch and we're done. These are beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. We cook these on a low heat so we know that the inside is cooked, which we will test a little later. Second batch going in, and we're just going to repeat the process just like we did earlier. Low heat, on each side, and make sure that they're nice and golden, and then we're going to be done. Second batch is done, and that is a wrap. Absolutely gorgeous, you guys. Oh my gosh, these are gorgeous. Here are our gorgeous fried dumpling babies. Oh my god, they are beautiful. Super easy and simple fried dumplings. I hope the instructions were easy to follow, simple enough and clear. And of course, if you have any questions, leave it in the comments. And as I mentioned before, there is a written recipe for this on my blog at londoncooks.com, and I will leave a link to that below. Alright, so easy Jamaican fried dumplings. And there you have it. I'm going to have these with some Jamaican ackee and saltfish. And I do have a tutorial for that. But the possibilities are endless. Serve these with absolutely anything. And you can even eat them by themselves. Alright, it's totally up to you. But serve these with anything your heart desired. Alright, so you hear that? Outside is nice and crispy. Look at that. Inside, nice and soft. And done. So we want crispy outside, pillowy soft inside. These are perfect.